Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Today taking a look at the Revenge of the Sith release of Kit Fisto. And he did come to us on that Revenge of the Sith branded card. I love the card back image. Certainly carried the branding of the movie that they used and other marketing materials. Darth Vader's helmet in the background with Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting kind of silhouetted at the top of the helmet. And as that card back goes down, you're getting the lava, the fire shooting up. Through that blister, you get a good look at the action figure that you're getting. Behind that, you see the display stand that he came with. Left side, nice image of Kit Fisto from the movie. And on the bottom left side of the card, you're going to see is number 22 in the lineup. This figure was released in April of 2005. Here's a look at the back side of the card, where on the top, you're going to see Kit Fisto's image once again, his name, and then that number 22. Just below that, off to the left, is going to be a brief description about him. Farther down, you got an image of the action figure that you're getting. And then off on the right half of the card are going to be a handful of other figures that were available in the line at this time. Taking a look at him out of the packaging, and as far as the sculpt goes, I think they did a fantastic job with this figure. Unfortunately, he did not get released with his cloak, so you're getting a robeless Kit Fisto. I did mention that good-looking sculpt, but overall paint application for me on this particular figure, not that great. That might be a little harsh. It's not horrible, but the coloring of everything just seems a little bit off. It seems like there's, I don't want to say that there was a whitewash applied, but it's almost like the painting needs just like a little more contrast to darken things up. But unfortunately, the skin tone for the head, the various tails coming down through the back and his hands, it's too pale of a green, almost leans yellow in color. So I definitely would have liked to have seen that darkened up a bit. And what's not working for me is the red coloring around the eyes and then kind of within the ridges just coming off the back of his head. You're getting some red painted in between each of those little tails. And there for me, the coloring should have been maybe a dark brown. Certainly not a bright, vibrant red that we're getting here. Aside from that, the paint deco, not too bad. The dark spots on each of his tails looks pretty decent. Kind of close to what they need to be. The painting for the little binders or whatever those would be, the brown stripes running on each of the head tails. You know, some of that painting's a little hit and miss. Some areas it looks pretty decent and covers the head tails. In other sections, it's just faded off, not applied that well, so it doesn't totally wrap around like you would expect it to appear. The tips of each tail has a decent dark gray painting to it. You know, overall, a decent attempt to make him look relatively accurate to how we saw him in the film. The black eye painting looks pretty good, well placed, has a nice little shine to it, so you get some reflection within those eyeballs. And then also for his lips, you know, just a little too bright red here. Maybe a bit of a darker color or something would have been better. So yeah, painting, not the strong suit of this figure, but like I said, I think the sculpt does look really good. Getting down to the chest and arms, he's a Jedi, everything's pretty well represented. You're getting some good texturing of that fabric sculpted in. You're making out the various layers of his costume very well. Getting a little bit of a dark inner tunic painted in, along with that gray, inner tunic, that undershirt. So all that coming across very good. Around the waist, you got decent painting for a belt, nice burgundy color to it, silver belt buckle. The little capsules on his left side of the belt have a nice paint application to them. Definitely some individual silver and gold capsules. Even a little clip sculpted and painted black for his lightsaber hilt. As you see in a little bit, that lightsaber blade is detachable from the hilt, and you can use the peg, slot that right in there, and then the nice sculpting for the pouch on his left side of the hip. Moving a little bit further, you can see that that skirt piece of his tunic does have a slit on each side. It's going to help open it up a bit, give your legs a little bit more range of motion. And then sculpting for the pants, pretty much, well, Jedi pants. So you're getting what you want to see. Decent folds of the fabric sculpted in, definitely has a little bit of motion to it. And then nice sculpting for the brown Jedi boots that he's wearing. Does have a bit of an action stance to him, so his left leg comes out to the side a little bit. As you can see, his left foot doesn't quite sit flush to the table, but it doesn't impede his ability to stand upright on his own. He's very well balanced. As far as the articulation, due to the tails coming down from his head, you're not going to get any head movement. Each of the shoulders swivel a full 360 and hinges up at a pretty decent range. Hinge and swivel also at the elbow. Both wrists swivel. You get your full rotation at the waist. Legs swivel forward, about 45-degree angle, and back at an equal distance. Hinge movement at both knees. The left leg swivels at that knee joint, while his right leg has swivel articulation at the top of the boot. As for the accessories, you're getting two of them. You got his lightsaber and that display stand that most of the figures in this Episode 3 line came with. I believe the entire line, actually, and there were three variations to the look of the display stands, as I recall. First up, looking at the lightsaber, decent sculpting to it. I love the vibrant green color that we're given here. You get that added lightsaber crackle or glow at the base of the blade coming out of the top of the hilt. And then sculpting for that hilt looks quite representative of how this lightsaber looks. Some simple lines sculpted in, some black painting, and a few black dots here and there. And there you see the peg at the end of the hilt that I mentioned. The blade slides out of the hilt, and you can just slot that right into the side of his belt. Bit of a tight squeeze, at least on mine, but it does stay in. And he certainly looks nice having it off on the side of his hip. And then real quick, here's a look at that display stand that he came with. I'm not 100% sure what floor this is supposed to represent, if it's the Tatooine or some other environment. Pretty decent look to it though. Some nice teal painting, a little bit of a, maybe a beige color at the bottom right corner that you're seeing for those four individual panels. And then a bit of a rounded backdrop, I guess representing, you know, the start of a wall. Single foot peg in there. You know, it is what it is. As figure stands go, it's pretty nice looking. Yeah, I guess that's about all I have to say on that. So overall for me, you know, like I said, it's really not that bad of a figure. It has a great sculpt, just a little bit missing on the paint application. I would have liked to have seen a robe included with this figure since that's how we saw him in the movie, but certainly over time we've already received, I think, a few Kit Fistos that at least have had a robe included. So kind of not too big of a deal that we didn't get one here, at least now, you know, looking back in hindsight. So even looking at it now as a 15-year-old figure, I'd say this is one that's definitely still worth picking up. So that's going to wrap this up. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this figure in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.